The council chamber of the Galactic Concordance hung in the void like a jewel, its crystalline walls refracting the light of 1,000 distant stars. Chancellor Viralin of the Ascendancy stood before the assembled delegates, her 3 eyes gleaming with barely concealed contempt as she reviewed the petition before her. "Humans," she said, the word dripping with disdain. "They request military aid against the Krell Dominion." A ripple of what might have been laughter passed through the alien assembly. The same humans whose ancestors were once whispered about in frightened tones across half the galaxy. The Death Worlders. The apex predators. She paused for effect. How the mighty have fallen. It had been 3 centuries since humanity had joined the Concordance. 3 centuries of peace, prosperity, and cultural exchange. 3 centuries in which the old stories had faded into myth, then into jokes. The tales of human warriors who fought with reckless abandon, who refused to surrender even when victory was impossible, who bonded with other species so fiercely they would die for them. All of it seemed absurd now. The humans the galaxy knew were diplomats, artists, engineers, soft, civilized. "The Krell have destroyed 17 human colony worlds," came a voice from the human delegation. Commander Elias Thorne stood, his posture relaxed but his eyes hard as diamonds. 2 million dead. We've asked for aid 3 times now. Each time we've been refused. Viralen's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Commander Thorne, the Concordance does not involve itself in regional disputes. The Krell are a recognized power. If humanity cannot defend its own territory, perhaps you should negotiate." "We tried negotiating," Thorne replied quietly. "They responded by glassing another colony." "Then perhaps," Viralen said, her tone final, "humanity should have maintained its ancient strength rather than growing comfortable in our shadow." The vote was swift and unanimous. No aid would be forthcoming. As the delegates filed out, Viralen noticed Thorne hadn't moved. He stood alone in the center of the chamber, his expression unreadable. "Commander?" she inquired. Thorne looked up at her, and for the first time, Viralen saw something in his eyes that made her ancestral memories stir with discomfort. "You should have helped us, Chancellor. Is that a threat?" "No," Thorne said softly. "It's a warning. You've forgotten what humans are. We tried to forget too. We spent 300 years proving we could be more than what we were. But you've just reminded us." He turned to leave, then paused. "The myths weren't exaggerations, Chancellor. They were understatements." 6 months later, Viralen received an urgent summons. The Krell Dominion, emboldened by humanity's apparent weakness and the Concordance's refusal to intervene, had begun expanding their territory. They had crossed into Ascendancy space. Viralen arrived at the border world of Talaxis Prime expecting to find it under siege. Instead, she found something that defied comprehension. The Krell fleet, 300 warships strong, was in ruins. Debris fields stretched across space like metallic clouds, and in the center of it all, a single human ship. It wasn't even a warship. The vessel was a converted colony transport, its hull scarred and pitted, jury-rigged weapons bristling from every available surface. But it flew a flag that made Viralen's blood run cold, the ancient battle standard of humanity, not seen in 3 centuries. A white star on a black field surrounded by 12 others, the symbol of Earth and its first colonies. The war flag. "Chancellor Viralen!" Thorne's voice crackled over the comm. "Welcome to the party. What have you done?" She breathed. "We did what you wouldn't. We stopped the Krell." His voice was matter-of-fact, almost bored. "They made a mistake, Chancellor. They thought we were weak because we chose peace. They thought our kindness was cowardice. They thought the myths were just stories." Viralen's ship sensors showed impossible readings. The human vessel shouldn't have been able to defeat even one Krell dreadnought, let alone an entire fleet. "How? You want to know the truth about those old stories?" Thorne asked. "About why species used to fear humans? It wasn't because we were better fighters, though we were. It wasn't because we were more vicious, though we could be. It was because we understood something most species don't, which is that the line between civilization and survival is thinner than anyone wants to admit. We built our society on top of millions of years of predatory instinct. We didn't erase it, we just chose not to use it. But when you threaten our families, our children, our future," his voice dropped to something primal, "we remember what we are." The evidence was overwhelming. In 6 months, without concordance support, Humanity had mobilized a war machine that hadn't existed in centuries. They had weaponized their merchant fleet, converted their mining vessels into carriers, and turned their peaceful colonies into fortresses. More terrifyingly, they had done it with a unity of purpose that shocked the galaxy. The Krell had learned too late that humans bonded not just with each other, but with anyone they considered part of their tribe. The 17 destroyed colonies hadn't just killed humans. They had killed the alien immigrants who had settled there, the mixed families, the exchange students and traders. Humanity hadn't just been defending itself. It had been avenging its adopted kin. The Krell Dominion is requesting peace talks, Vera Len said, her voice hollow. They're offering full reparations and territorial concessions. Tell them we accept, Thorne replied. On one condition. Name it. They leave this sector of space forever, and they remember why they used to fear us. Vera Len found herself in the uncomfortable position of mediating a peace between a species she had dismissed as weak and an empire that had terrorized the region for decades. The Krell agreed to every human demand without negotiation. They had learned what the galaxy had forgotten. As the treaty was signed, Vera Len approached Thorne privately. Will you return to what you were before? She asked. Will humanity remain awakened? Thorne looked out at the stars, his expression tired. We never wanted this, Chancellor. We spent 3 centuries building a better version of ourselves, creating art, exploring, learning, being more than just survivors. He turned to her. But you taught us something important. The galaxy isn't ready for species who choose peace. They see it as weakness. So we'll do what we always do. We'll adapt. Meaning humanity will maintain its fleet. We'll remember our strength. But we'll also remember why we chose to set it aside in the first place. His eyes hardened. And if anyone threatens our peace again, ours or our allies, they'll learn what the Krell learned. The myths weren't dismissed because they were false. They were dismissed because we let you forget they were true. As Vera Len watched the human fleet depart, she understood with cold certainty that the balance of galactic power had shifted. Humanity hadn't just defeated the Krell. They had reminded every species in the Concordance that the Deathworlders had never truly been tamed. They had simply been sleeping. And now they were awake.